I'll never forget seeing my first Florida Panther. I was on a lonely stretch of Lime Rock Road. It was kind of a very curvy stretch, and it was early in the morning, and it was in the fall, and I was driving very slowly at 9 in the morning, and I thought, what's that big dog doing out here crossing the road? And I was like, whoa, that's a panther. I couldn't believe it. It turned and it looked at me, and then lazily loped or walked, really didn't break stride across the road, and then disappeared in the trees. And I stopped and I looked for it. I couldn't see it, but it was kind of a vivid encounter with nature that I haven't seen one like that close up since. And seeing a panther is not as rare as seeing or at some point it was as rare as seeing an ivory-billed. I think there was more ivory-billed sightings, even though they're pileated, probably, woodpeckers, than there were panther sightings at some point. And that's because the Florida Panther almost went extinct in the 1980s. It was only rumored to exist, and a group of biologists and cat experts went in and they kind of determined there's a population of about a dozen, but they're going to die out if the gene pool isn't diversified. So a big part of the Florida recovery effort was bringing in Texas cougars, and that made them healthier and helped them expand from a dozen to 2 dozen to those 100, 200 there are today. And when I saw that panther on that lonely stretch of Lime Rock Road, it was during that era where in the late 90s when the population was starting to increase, and the wildlife biologist, longtime wildlife biologist, who's just been front and center in the program since day one, said to me when I went to tell her that the sighting, she said, "Did it have a collar?" And I couldn't remember. A wildlife biologist I am not. So, but that collar really, and the fact that I was on a Lime Rock Road, that was also an early component of the recovery effort. They needed to collar the panthers to know the panthers' range. What were their, how far did they go? Where did they cross roads? And then that helped instruct where wildlife crossings should go. So with the population on the rise, at some point, roadkill started to increase or become more frequent, and it was occurring in, the question was, how are they utilizing the wildlife crossings, and where do new ones need to go, and where are the problems areas? And that's when, going back to this song, Krista was brought in from Texas, and how fitting, maybe metaphorically, that okay to kind of talk to these panthers, work hand in hand with them, you need to bring in a Texan, because the panthers will, listen to a Texan, because they have a little bit of that Texan blood in them. So Krista came down, and to do that, she was a road planner that specialized in making roads more compatible with nature, including wildlife crossings. So about this song, I fast forward then 2 years later, she was on a 2-year term, and it was coming to an end, and she got a job in the private sector. She's now back working for the park, and has been for some years. But at the time, it was kind of a party, a farewell that was happening all of a sudden, and I got alerted and I scribbled down some notes for a song, and I don't know, I felt like the song was half-baked and just a sheet of paper with arrows going this way and that. But in the name of good fun, I performed it. And after I got done, everyone loved it. She loved it. She said, "Bob, you got to get me a copy of those lyrics." And I showed her the lyrics with all the arrows, and I said, "I'll type them up." And I typed them up. And but otherwise, I only performed the song once, and that was over 10 years ago. And it wasn't until recently that I started doing these videos of previous farewell songs that I saw. And I was doing those previous videos, really the first three: One More Melaleuca, Three Jacks, and Higher Moral Ground, to rebuild a campfire talk that Ranger Rudi and I did to celebrate the 100th birthday of America's national parks. That was kind of our creative project that we did, and we did about a dozen campfire talks in 2 remote campgrounds in the heart of the Big Cypress, and in the spirit of celebrating, we ditched the PowerPoint and we turned it into a Shakespearean vaudevillian play. Anyhow, the idea was, and then eventually Rudi and I, as a side project, we wrote a book that kind of expanded on that story of the script, and then that turned into a trilogy, long story. Anyhow, that led me to thinking, and us, Rudi and I, how do we make some promotional materials for the book? So I put together a little YouTube video, like a Hollywood-style trailer. That was a lot of fun. And then I said to Rudi, let's rebuild our campfire talk modularly on YouTube, and I'll start with the songs. So I started with the songs, thinking we'd rebuild our campfire talk, and we'll do that yet, but Rudi and I are in separate towns. It became difficult to maybe work together. We'll figure it out. But in the meanwhile, I was like, wow, these videos really complement the songs, and I sent them to Jack, the wildland firefighter, and I sent them to John, our old previous superintendent, and I sent it to Tony, our botanist, who's left but since come back, and they really liked the videos. And I thought, wow, I'll do another video. And Krista's came to mind, the Ballad of the Florida Panther, just because it told a story. It told a story, and this song, the story of this song is how much the video brought the song to life. I think with the previous 3 songs, the video was a nice compliment. But on this song, wow, it was a video breakthrough. And I think it starts with going back when I was driving on that limestone stretch of road, and I happened to see a panther there. That's very rare. People go their whole lives in Florida not seeing a Florida panther, but they do see Florida Panther signs on the road. Beware, wildlife crossing ahead, or panther crossing ahead. And to have that sign in the opening sequence, and then the panther jump off, and that silhouette run across the prairie, is the hook that brings the viewer into the video, into the story, taking them from familiar ground and then following that panther into this unfamiliar ground, and then telling the story. Another key thing about the video is the silhouette of the panther and the silhouette of the protagonist, Krista. I think you can really identify with each one because they're silhouettes, and them working hand in hand. You can identify with Krista. You can start to root for her. You can, almost feel like you're in her shoes. And another element of that is, and maybe this is the biggest thing, so often, whether you're a transportation planner who specializes in making roads more compatible with nature and natural values, Or if you're just someone who enjoys nature in general, you might do something good for nature, but you're not working hand in hand with the birds, or the turtles, or the panther, or bears. You're doing something tangentially for them. And in this song, with Krista, the protagonist, as that silhouette, and the panther working together, reviewing the plan, then running into obstacles, you're rooting for them to overcome those obstacles. It really brings that to life, that wow, we can really hands-on make a difference with nature, and it's a direct connect. So for all those reasons, I think this song was a video breakthrough most of all. And I saw how the video can really elevate and expand upon, which was already a good song, but my goodness, that song, had I not done this video, would have only been sung once. And I shared the video with Krista, and she was so happy to get it. And she told me, she said, I still have your lyrics on the wall. And I think that was always a nice keepsake for to share with the people going away. But I think this is the video, the actual audio, and marrying it to that video is even a better keepsake, and also then is a good home for the Bobby Angel anthology. That these songs should be heard more than once, and in the tradition of the nature folk movement that Bobby Angel is at the helm of, and the campfire shanties. It's a worthy contribution, and the song inadvertently, I didn't believe in the song until I sang it, and I got that positive affirmation, and the video just then the song spoke back to me. The song spoke back to me through the video, and I think that's what a campfire shanty is all about. You sing it and you listen to it at the same time, and it brings back all those memories, and it helps us reaffirm, who we are and what we're trying to achieve.